With DJ overwhelm, it's a big question, especially for beginner DJs, because it's all well and good deciding you're going to take up this fantastic hobby. Maybe you discovered us a little while ago and grabbed our gear guide and picked yourself some DJ gear to play with. Maybe you were really good and you got yourself a copy of the best-selling book on how to DJ Rock the Dance Floor, also by us. And by the way, you don't have to buy this book. You can go grab it from the Digital DJ Tips website. Just head over there and click that join button at the top right. We'll give you a copy of the book. However you landed on starting out, setting up your gear, grabbing your first controller, getting your software running, and then thinking, too much. Where do I go from here? What do I do next? There's so many choices. If that's you, if you're stuck on exactly that stage of your DJ learning journey, then please hang around, because I'm going to help you today to get over it. But also, we're going to ask our fantastic community, of which I know many people are here with us today because we broadcast these live, to let me know, looking back when you started DJing, what was the biggest thing you had to overcome? And how did you overcome it? Let me know in the chat. Even if you're watching the recording, let us know underneath in the comments and we will reply to you, because that's how we roll. But let me know in the chat if you're with us live, and we'll chat at the end about how you overcame some of your problems. But hey, if you're watching this because you are feeling overwhelmed, I will help you out hopefully today. So look, over on the website, if you click on the news part of the website, you'll find all our articles, and at the moment this article is top. You'll find it anyway there if you scroll down a bit or click the search bar, but it's called Too Many DJ Paths, and this is the article that we wrote recently to help one of our students with exactly this problem. So I'm actually going to read you what our students said. I'm going to read you part of the conversation we had with our student, which is this little bit here. So our student said, I didn't realize how many different ways to DJ I would become interested in. Mobile DJing is a potential income stream. Club DJing could be fun. I've been excited to see DJs playing experimental or ambient sets, which is probably closest to my passion. And then a lot of the music I listen to would probably be most at home in a bar set. So I'm having trouble focusing and deciding what to start with. There's just so much music in the world. So this message was from one of our students. And the key thing here is this student was already a musician. Was a musician in a noise art rock band and got into DJing basically when a gig fell through. And I think the story was that he just thought I'll DJ, and that's how it all started off. And this is like, it's not a usual way to come into DJing, but it's a very common way. As in, if you're not a complete beginner, you've gone to a club, you've got completely blown away by house music, sort of what normally happens. I was looking at the wrong camera there. And you are, oh no, I need to do what that DJ does, right? That house DJ route is quite common. And then people tend to drift into other ways of DJing from there. But this person's a little bit different. This person was already in a band and so had a slightly different route in. So look, that could be you. You could be watching this because you are a musician who's thinking about getting back into the playing music side of it. But even if you're not, I'm going to answer our student's question here, but also give you some tips that are good for everyone. So I offered 4 tips to this student, and the first one was this one here. Just pick one way of DJing and start mixing. So this is all about not trying to decide which type of DJing is right for you at any given moment, but just start doing one. So my advice was just pick the one that you're most excited about, the one you're thinking about just before you fall asleep, like literally right now. And it could be mobile, it could be experimental, it could be club DJing, whatever. And just commit to it. Just say, all right, I'm going to spend the next 3 months is always a good time to commit to anything. 90 days is always a good time because it's long enough to get something achieved, but not so long that you don't actually get started, right? A year, too long. A week, you ain't going to get nothing done. So I find 3 months, it's the way we work at Digital DJ Tips, by the way, in these 3-month cycles as a team is always a good way of doing it. Just download some tracks, go get 20 tracks in the style that is most interesting to you right now and figure out how to mix between them. That's it, don't overcomplicate it. So what I said to this student was, look, if you can successfully mix in any genre, then it's going to carry across into another genre. My exact words were, if you can learn to go from Ed Sheeran to classic soul to current hip hop without train wrecking, it is a skill which will work anywhere, right? So pick one. Smooth transitions are smooth transitions, whether you're playing a wedding or an underground club. They just are, right? So it doesn't matter. You'll be learning the skills, whatever you choose. The second tip, that's 3. The second tip I gave to our student was set up some sources of music and actually use them. So this speaks to a problem which, again, is so common with new DJs. Because in the old days, music was scarce. You'd have to go to a record shop, you'd have to have some money, you'd have to, every song was a step forward, and it felt like a step forward. I've got 2 or 3 new records this week. Wow. It's just not like that anymore, is it? You've got access to basically infinite music. You've got streaming services right inside your DJ software. You can go and buy anything you want online. It's not the same as it used to be. And so people get paralyzed. They don't know whether they should be using Beatport, or whether they should be using Apple Music, or whether they should be buying the songs that they're playing, or whether they should be doing something else, joining a DJ pool or something like that. And the truth is, it doesn't matter. Pick 1 or 2 places to get music and just focus on those. And spend, again, the next 90 days just getting used to the way they work. So my advice to the student was, look, it's not about mastering them all or worrying which one is perfect. Just actually use the ones you pick. Spend 30 minutes on one service and 30 minutes on another, and keep doing that every week. You'll get used to how they work. Don't worry about reviews. Don't worry about features. Don't worry about whether you're missing out on stuff. Hint, you will always be missing out on music. It's impossible to hear it all nowadays. But just get to know 1 or 2. Literally a few weeks in, you'll know which one is best for you. So ditch the one that isn't and maybe try another one when you've got a second. But most DJs are getting their music from 2 or 3 places at the most, and they're quite happy with that. So don't worry about it. Don't get FOMO about your music. The third tip to our student was, you must play a gig soon, like preferably in the next couple of months. Look, nothing will make you more sure or more sure about the fact that you need to change than playing a gig, right? So if you've chosen to do bar DJing, you've chosen to play music that gets people's feet tapping but not necessarily gets them dancing, so you're picking that wide selection of music that's good in a bar, right? Bit of everything. And you go play a bar gig, you're either going to think, oh, this is brilliant, I love this, I'm going to stick with this, or you're going to think, didn't quite do it for me, I'm going to try something else, right? Nothing will get you to clarify that position here than actually playing that gig. It's probably the biggest piece of advice. In fact, in the book, there's a whole section right near the beginning which says, book yourself a DJ gig now. Now, people have a lot of resistance to that. They think I'm not ready. They think I'm going to make a fool of myself. They think it's going to take me years of practice before I can play in front of other people. You learn DJing in front of other people. You can't learn DJing at home just because you can't, because there's no one to play to. DJing is about playing to other people. And so you must book yourself an event. Now, don't think that you have to get main stage at Tomorrowland or something. It's just in front of other people. Could just be at home. Could be a birthday party for a family member. Could be your birthday party. Could be just telling your family, I'm going to do a DJ set in front of you next Friday. And of course, it could be in your local bar or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just get yourself a gig. And another good reason for doing that is you can't often choose what's available to you, right? So you might think, I want to play some underground house. I want to play some experimental, dark, ambient. And then your boss says, hey, do you want to do the summer party? Well, now you can't do that. So now you're going to spend the next few weeks rehearsing to play a summer party. So that's another way of focusing on one kind of DJing. But you will learn more from playing a gig in front of other people. Doesn't have to be perfect. Look, there's 2 things you have to do when you DJ, right? 2 things. And this is the absolute truth coming from someone who's been doing it for 40 years. Number 1, keep the volume the same between every song you play. But you'll be amazed the number of people that just fail on that simple task. Now, you can practice that at home, and it ain't going to take you 5 years to learn to keep the volume the same on every track you play. Figure out how the meters work, figure out how the controls work on your mixer, done. Number 2, cut out the gaps between the songs. How hard is that? I'm telling you, it ain't very hard. If you can do those 2 things, keep the volume constant and cut out the gaps between the songs, you can play in front of other people. The real skill of DJing, it's not the mixing, because it's very easy to cut between 2 songs and keep it smooth. You just count the beats, and on the 4th beat of the 4th bar, you start the other song playing. And with modern digital DJ gear, it's just a case of moving the crossfader across and hitting play. Don't let anyone tell you it's harder than that. The volume's right, you've done it. No, The real skill of DJing is what you play and the order you play it in. And I'm here to tell you that that skill is something that you will never fully learn, which is why DJing is such a fantastic hobby, because you're never going to perfect it. But also, you'll never get past go unless you're doing it in front of other people. You just won't. So the only way to learn is to get in front of other people. Once you're playing the songs at the right volume and you can cut between them, get out there and figure out what to play next in front of the people who are listening to you. And honestly, if I had to put it in a sentence, I've just done it for you. Now, of course, the devil's in the detail and the learning comes as you do that. But the point is, you've got to get out there to start learning, right? So get yourself a gig. And then when that one's finished, find yourself another one immediately. The fourth piece of advice I gave to our student, and this was the only piece of advice that was quite specific to this student. Remember, this student was in a band and already had some experience playing in front of other people, was this: use your band background as inspiration. It's something that gives you some of the skills that come with being a DJ. So things like reading an audience, right? The band has to figure out what to play next, whether what they're playing is working. It's tension and release. It's creating an atmosphere. But also, as a band member, you've already got quite a good sense, whether you know it or not, of how elements fit together in tracks, drums and bass lines and vocals, when to have the tension in the set, when to have the release in the set. And so these are all skills that, whoa, completely transfer across to DJing. They really, really do. So as a band member, you actually bring a lot to the table already as a DJ. So use that. Don't think that's irrelevant. It really is something that you can bring with you. Bands tend to have a sense of drama. And DJs tend to, especially beginner DJs, they tend to be scared of drama. They tend to be scared of doing anything which will get people to look at them, right? Now, band members, it's the opposite. You want people to look at you. You want people to think, oh, they just did that and that was cool, right? So you're already over that hump, right? So, you know, a good example is if you're DJing and you want to play something that the second you hit play and whack that crossfader over, you know everyone's going to look at you. Beginner DJs don't like that. They'd rather mix it in 30 seconds earlier and kind of hide a bit before the big bit happens, just in case the big bit doesn't really work well. And there's this kind of like that coupled with a being scared to touch the controls because it's all meant to be smooth. No one's meant to actually notice I'm doing anything. These things aren't really important. What's important is the right music in the right order. Get a bit of drama into your set. Get a bit of light and dark, a bit of tension, a bit of release. This is something that band people already know. So use that. That was my final piece of advice to our student. So there we go. Look, to sum it up, pick a type of music and just rehearse that. Just pick a couple of places to get that music. Don't worry about the rest. Get yourself to the point where you're playing in front of other people quickly. And whatever experience you have as a musician or in the music world or even as a theatre performer, or get any experience you have getting in front of other people, draw on it, because you'll be surprised how much it overlaps with DJing and how much that experience of being in public gets you over the hump. So in our book, we talk about DJing as being 5 areas. And so if you know Digital DJ Tips, you'll know this. It's on page 4 of our book. That's how important it is. This camera is not going to be in focus. I just know that, but hey, I'll do it anyway. So not in focus, it hurts, doesn't it? Let me just get it in focus for us. There we go. So here's the 5 big areas of DJing, right? So we've got gear, the music you play. We've got gear. We've got the music you play, which is the second one. We've got mixing, which is the third one. We've got performing, and then we've got success. We'll talk about these on some other live stream, but this is the one I want to talk to you about now, performing, right? Because people don't understand that once you've got the gear and you've got some music and you've learned to mix a bit, and it comes to performing that stuff, there's a big switch between these. There's a big switch between doing it in your bedroom or in your home and doing it in front of other people. And this bit here overlaps hugely with any other performing. Public speaking, theatre, talking at work, you know, taking meetings at work, being in a band, any of that stuff helps you in this area, right? So if you've done any of that, and older DJs coming to DJing older people coming to DJing as a hobby often have, draw on it. You'll be surprised how much it will help you when you get to actually playing those gigs. Okay, so that was the advice I gave to our student, and I hope it's been helpful to you. Again, there's an article on digitaldjtips.com called Too Many DJ Paths. Just pick one and start mixing. Go take a look there where we go into more detail about this. However, I did say that I wanted you to share with me the biggest thing that you had to get over at the beginning of your DJing career. And I'm talking to our students and to our audience here in general to give some extra help to people who are watching this lesson and wanting to know how to overcome DJ overwhelm as a beginner. So I'm now going to do exactly what we always do at the end and cut over to our audience and talk about this. So the first comment I can see here is this is from ECC. I think I pronounced your name correctly. And actually, this is about a performance I did recently. He said, you were very brave using retro DJ gear and vinyl fill. I would not be brave enough to do that. I played a DJ gig recently at a festival at the end when the bands had finished, and I just played the festival out. And it was a retro event, so I put some really old-fashioned turntables, a bit like this one, and some 7-inch vinyl on the stage and played out with a camera so they could see what I was doing. And you're right, it was nerve-wracking for certain. But anyway, right. So let's now talk about what we're here for, which is this whole purpose of today's show. And the reason I'm going is I'm trying to find a comment about it. There's so much chat going on about my 7-inch DJ set, so that's nice to see. Thank you, everyone. Right, okay. Yeah, you're all chatting about old school vinyl DJing. It's lovely to see in the chat over there. I do love the way our audience just go off and talk to each other about what they want while we're going live. It's always good to know. Right, so okay. The question I asked you though was, what is it about DJing that tripped you up right at the beginning? And so that's what I'm looking for here. Comments about that. So talk among yourselves if you want, but I ain't going to talk in front of everyone else about what you're saying, because it ain't exactly what we are talking about here. Right, okay, here we go. I found some. Right, Jobo Kabobo, what a name. Jobo Kabobo says, good morning, Phil. Good morning where you are. You're obviously stateside. I DJ in virtual reality weekly. It's a very fun way to practice and to play for crowds without leaving my home. That's cool, actually. I love that. So yeah, playing out doesn't have to literally mean playing in physical presence with other people. In lockdown, we did a lot of live streaming. It can even mean just making mixtapes, literally recording your mixes and sharing them, because it gets you to the point where you're doing it, right? You're doing something. And the whole point is it focuses what you do until that point so that you can do the thing, which gives you the direction and cuts through the overwhelm. So thank you for sharing that. Lots of you saying happy birthday to Digital DJ Tips, which is great to see. Thank you for that. Baynard says, I recently DJ'd a gig with a Spanish crowd, reggae and soul, and I was very nervous about it. But 30 minutes in, we were jamming until we were forced to stop hours later. So the lesson is stay in the moment. Yes, it's a very, very good lesson indeed. Bartholomew, I think your name is, says, I'm very new to the DJ thing. The thing I struggle with the most is the correct selection of tracks. They sound all right alone, but when I'm trying to mix it with other tracks, most of the time there's something off and I'm sitting for a week to pick music, ditch that record, get another one, and all this kind of thing. Excuse me. In order to find the right song to mix next. So here is a big lesson, and this is how we're going to end today with this lesson. So thank you for the comment, Bartholomew. You should never pick the next song based upon how well it mixes into the one you're currently playing. You are falling into a classic beginner trap, which is everyone is listening to me for the mixing I'm doing. And I'm here to tell you, no one is. 2 reasons why you need to take this on board. Reason number 1, even if you spend hours finding the next song that you can mix with the song before at home and practicing it over and over again and getting it right, and then you do it again and you end up with 10 songs, say, that you can mix in your head really well between. Even if you do that, it ain't going to sound very good because you're a beginner, and it just doesn't. You might think it does, but it won't. And you've made the biggest mistake any beginner DJ can make, which is not playing the music that's right for the people in front of you right now. Your biggest job as a DJ is to play the correct record next. And if you do that, people will forgive you everything. If you don't do that, you're going to fail. It doesn't matter how good the mixing is. And you cannot predict that ahead of time, so there's no point trying. There's some very, very simple mix techniques, again, in this book, and again, you can get this for free. Go to digitaldjtips.com, click the pink button at the top. In this book, we give you 5 transitions which will get you through any DJ set. They're simple, they're easy to learn, and even if you only learn the first 2, you can go out and play confidently in public. It's that simple. Don't get tripped up by this idea that every transition has to be perfect, because you will never get to stage 1 where you're going to start learning, which is playing out. I'm going to leave it there today, people. Thank you so much. We've got our final show next week. And next week's final show is a big one because we're going to talk about our 7 favorite DJ controllers of 2025. If you're not sure what gear to get, go grab our gear guide. Again, you can get that for free simply by signing up at digitaldjtips.com and becoming our latest community member. We're going to get that gear out, we're going to put it on the desk, and we're going to talk about it and tell you why we think these particular controllers are our favorites of 2025. So look, it's one not to miss, and it's the final one of the term before we take our summer break. So come and join me at the same time. And meanwhile, thank you to everyone who's joined in. And I'm very sorry for everyone whose comments I couldn't get to. Travis and Banana Bomb and Ure and Dave and Apostolis and everyone else. But we will get to you in the comments if you post your comment on Facebook, or if you repost it underneath in the comments on YouTube. We will get to you and help you if you're asking questions. But if not, thank you very much for joining in. This has been Phil in the Digital DJ Tips studio saying, get good, get out there, make the moments. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.